shelter was built by my father in the 80s, just in case the Soviets attacked. After he passed, I never thought about it again. It turns out the Soviets never did attack. Neither did the Chinese or the Russians that came after the Soviets. No, our ultimate attackers came from space, and we cannot even claim to be innocent victims. We deserve what's happening to us now. It all started a few decades ago. A brilliant scientist found a way to ionize rocket fuel, making it burn 1 million times slower than it normally would. This changed the entire concept of space travel for humanity. I remember her speaking to the media. She was very excited.
The new fuel system I have discovered may not carry us to our nearest star, but it will most certainly carry us to every planet, every moon, and maybe even every asteroid in our system. I can see this very easily.
It wasn't long after that we were quite literally building stations on the moon. A flight to the moon became as routine as a transatlantic flight. Nations put aside petty differences and collaborated with one another. And before you know it, we were launching ships from our moon stations. The obvious next step was Mars. The trip became so routine, we built multiple city enclosures. We built those cities in collaboration with AI-controlled robots. It became so normal, no one had any second thoughts. Our space race was on, but we were not racing with each other. We were racing against time. We couldn't get these cities built fast enough, and regular people were beginning to move into space. Unfortunately, the process for ionizing rocket fuel was free for anyone to attain. Corporations began to get their hands on this process, and they were eyeing the precious metals and other materials in the asteroid belt. It was only a matter of time before they started their own launches, hoping to take ownership before any government systems did the same. And they did it. Multiple companies established multiple mining stations. In the asteroid belt, they found gold, they found platinum, they found palladium. And they were successfully removing these precious metals and putting them to use. This caused a rush similar to the gold rush of 1849. And the more of these materials that were available, the more technology was built to travel further into space. For years, humanity had great success. They had extended themselves beyond the asteroid belt. Unfortunately, unchallenged success built complacency. There was a privately funded expedition to Jupiter, or more specifically, Europa, one of Jupiter's moons. They sent a probe down to the surface of Europa, something professional scientists would never do, to avoid the risk of contaminating Europa, which could potentially contain life. Normally, a probe crashing into the thick ice of Europa would be meaningless. But this probe contained a large quantity of the slow-burning rocket fuel. It burned through 25 miles of ice, and the layer beneath it was frozen methane. Humanity watched on live feed as we destroyed life on another planetary body, and we could do nothing to stop it. The fire burned for days. We saw organic tentacles reaching out from the cracks, flailing in the fire, and eventually flopping down on the ice. never to move again. There was outcry from all over the world. The UN Assembly called an urgent meeting, demanding each country wanting the right to prosecute the perpetrators of this unbelievable crime. But that was the problem. What was the crime? What would they be charged with? If they were convicted, what would be their punishment? The courts made this exact determination. They were all released and had to pay a fine. Shortly after their release, messages began appearing all over the world in every language. They said, "We saw what you did. Punishment is coming." Most people believe it was a hoax. It was simply sympathetic people demanding some kind of response. But then it happened. Our observatories saw it. Octagon-shaped ships emerging from the atmosphere of Jupiter. But nothing can survive that atmosphere. At least nothing of ours can survive. As we continued to count them, more and more ships emerged of different design from different places on the planet, and they remained in the orbit of Jupiter, circling their own planet. We stopped counting once it reached 10,000 ships with about 100 different designs, and they began heading towards Earth at a very high rate of speed. They would be here in 10 days. Once they arrived, they immediately began bombarding all major cities. It seemed that their weapons were not much more powerful than ours. Or if they had more powerful weapons, they had not chosen to use them yet. The last news report that I saw before rushing to the bomb shelter was that the Chinese were launching special fighters that could fight both in the atmosphere and also in space.
I am Captain Wang Li. It was my squadron that was called up to protect the entire planet from the ships that emerged from the atmosphere of Jupiter. We know why they are here, but it does not matter. We must stop them, because they seem to destroy all of humanity, and we cannot allow that to happen. We were outnumbered 10-1, but we found out very soon that our ships were more maneuverable than theirs. That was a great advantage. Their lasers were very effective at destroying our missiles, but we were able to overcome that with misdirection maneuvers. We were destroying more of them than they were, but we could not keep up with the numbers. But as long as they were fighting us, they were not bombing Earth. Then we got a message from the Americans to guide the ships over North America if we could. Then they would do their part. So that's what we did. We headed towards North America, and they followed. The Americans launched AI-controlled missiles. They guaranteed us of that accuracy. But what choice did we have? We could not fight forever. We needed all the help that we could get. But amazingly, they were right. They scored multiple hits. One of the American missiles destroyed 3 ships. That was a major score. The Americans shared the AI-guided technology with other countries, and more success all over the world. They were exploding and falling to Earth. It is true, their attack was justified, but that did not mean we would go without a fight. But then this image was forced into all of our electronics. It even appeared in our cockpits. This alien made strange noises, but its voice was translated into English with a robotic sound.
Horrible humans. Horrible humans, stop killing us. We were angry because you took so many of our young for no reason. Stop killing us and we will leave. Horrible humans, stop killing us.
Shortly after that, were given the order to stop all offensive attacks. And they did. They left. An aura was passed throughout the entire Earth. No one was allowed beyond the asteroid belt. We found out we are not alone, but our neighbors may never forgive us. And who could blame them?